In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Python idle in both the interactive mode as well as to create programs that you can save to disk and then run. The first thing we need to do is find Python idle and launch it. I'm going to the Windows icon, then selecting All Applications and scrolling until I find Python 3.4. If I open that folder, the first item inside is idle. And if I click now on idle, it will launch it. But I find that I'm going to be using idle a lot, so I'd like to put it someplace convenient so I don't have to find it each time I want to launch it. If I right-click on idle, I have the option to pin it to the Start menu, or if I go into More, to pin it to the taskbar. And that's what I'm going to choose to do. Pin it to the taskbar. From here, I can now launch idle anytime I need to. The Python shell is displayed when I launch idle, and here I can enter code in the interactive mode. The typical first program that a programmer writes is Hello World. So we're going to write Hello World here in the Python shell. We'll type print, parentheses, quote, hello world, exclamation point, close parentheses. And when I hit enter, it does exactly what I told it to do, which is display the string hello world. Print is a command in Python that accepts a parameter inside parentheses, and the parameter that has been supplied here is the string hello world. I can type additional lines of code. For example, the name of my dog is Lilu, so I can create a variable called name and set it to Lilu. And then I can execute another print statement where I'm providing a string that says my dog is named, close the quote, and then a comma separates it from the variable I'm going to supply, which is name, and then I close parentheses. So in this print, I'm giving it two parameters. The first one is the string, my dog is named, and then the second one is the variable name, which holds the name of my dog. And when I hit enter, it displays my dog is named Lilu. This is the interactive mode, and it's quite useful for learning how to program in Python. You can enter lines of code and see how they work. It provides a very quick and simple means to executing Python code and testing it. But if I want to write a program and save it, a program that I can load anytime and run it, I'm going to have to create a file to hold my code. To do that, I go to File and say New File. Currently, this file has no lines of code in it, and it's not been saved. The first thing that I'm going to do is save the file. So I'm going to say File, Save As, and now I'd like a place to save my file, and since I'm going to be doing many programs this semester, I should create a place where I can save each of my Python projects. So I'm going to go to Libraries, to Documents, which is where I keep my documents, and then inside my Documents folder, create a new folder called Python Projects. I'm going to then go into Python Projects and create a folder for my first project, which is going to be my Hello World project. So I'm going to click Create New Folder and name it Hello World, and then go into the Hello World folder, and I'm ready to save my Python file. So I'm going to call my file name Hello World, and automatically a .py is going to be added to the end of the name when I click Save. We can see that up here in the title of the document. Hello World.py is in the Hello World folder in my Python projects in Documents. The py extension is the file name extension that is used when we create files that are going to hold Python code. So now we can enter the lines of code for our program. I'm going to type print hello world in quotes, close parentheses, and there is our single line of code. That is our one line of code in our first program. I'm going to say save. That will update the hello world.py file. And now I want to run my program. So I can go to run and say run module, and it will take me over to the Python shell and execute hello world.py and display the results, which in this case is hello world. If I go back to my Python file, I can add another line of code to it. So I'm going to add another print statement and give it a string that says, this is my very first Python program. Save it. That updates the Python file. Go to run, say run module, and I get the results, hello world. This is my very first Python program. If I were to close my document and even close the Python shell, I can always reload that program and run it. So I can run Python, that is, open up the Python shell, say file open, locate my Python file. So I'll go to documents, Python projects, hello world py, open it. And then I can say run module, and my program runs again. Now I may not always perfectly enter the code, and that can create errors. Let's say, for example, on the second print statement, I forget the closing parentheses. So I remove the parentheses, I save the program, and then I select run. And a syntax error is displayed, and it says unexpected EOF while parsing. EOF stands for end of file. It means that the program reached the end of file while it was working through the code, and it was unexpected because there's something missing. If I put my parentheses that closes the print statement at the end, save my program, and run it, then that error will not occur. Let's say I forget my closing quote on the string. This is my very first Python program. I remove the closed quote, I save my program, I run it, and I get EOL while scanning string literal. EOL means end of line, while scanning string literal means it reached the end of the line while it was scanning that string, and it was unexpected. Well, of course, because nothing told it where the string ends, the closing quote was missing, so I'm going to put the closing quote back in, and now this program would run just fine. Let's say on the second line of my program, I just had some garbage, a statement that makes no sense at all in Python. So I'll save that, and I'll select run module, and now we get an error displayed in the shell, and it says that in our program, hello world.py, on line 2, there is shdgfds, and that is not defined. Python doesn't know what to do with that, so we need to fix it. And our way of fixing it is going to be to remove what's on line 2. So that's line 1, that's line 2. We'll remove line 2. Now if I save the program and I run it again, it runs just fine. So we've written our first Python program that we've saved to a file. And let's say we want to submit that file as our work on Blackboard. So what we're going to do is go to the Python projects folder, to Hello World, and inside of it, of course, is the hello world.py file. And the Hello World folder is what we want to submit, but to do that it needs to be a single file, and so we compress it into a zip file for submitting it on Blackboard. So in Windows, if you right-click on the folder, you can then select Send to Compressed Zip Folder, and we end up with Hello World Zip. And Hello World Zip is what we would submit on Blackboard for this assignment if our assignment was to create the application Hello World.